What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Bobcast. I'm your host, Shafiq Kenton. This is the last episode of the season, and it's looking to be our best. On today's show, we will be talking baseball. The Bobcast crew went down to Cadam Yards to check out the O's. Nicolette Black is in the field today with the Frostburg State men's baseball head coach, Guy Robertson. We have a special treat for you today, guys. Instead of bringing in a student athlete, we have our very own floor director, Franklin Muse, sitting in with veteran Aaron and Blake speaking on the panel. Let's get to it. We're going to get started off with a little baseball. So the Pittsburgh Pirates, okay? Jonathan Sanchez, he's been doing this thing all season. He has, for the first 6 games, he's hitting, along with Craig, a pitch for the first inning of the St. Louis Cardinals. Do you think this is his punishment?
Yeah, I think this. I don't think this punishment is too much because they're down. They were down 2-0 early, and it definitely looked like a very intentional pitch. And the way that the team conducted themselves after the pitch was almost as if it was like deserving. And a 6-game suspension in a 162 season is not really that big of a deal. And I think that maybe he should tone it down a little bit.
Hitting somebody with a pitch while it's looked down upon is part of baseball. It's part of, and you got to see what happened before. I'm going to read you the quote from the umpire. He said he got 2 home runs before that. Before he hit Craig with the pitch, Beltran went yard on him, Matt Carpenter went yard on him. And then you got a line drive up the middle, Matt Holliday. Then the very first pitch to Craig is up and around the shoulder in the head area. In that area, I deem that intentional, and he's done. Very dangerous. Yes, when you're going for this area, yeah, that's pretty serious. But to suspend him 6 games, a little much for me. It's only 2 starts for him, so not too terrible, but I have a problem with that. That's part of the game.
But he's a pitcher that he's letting up these runs, and he's letting people hit the ball, and he's just losing composure as a pitcher, and he's just intentionally trying to hit Alan Craig in the head. And I don't see where that should be right, ever. Yeah, it's part of the game. Yeah, you can throw a bad pitch, maybe it slipped. But when you're going to hit the player, that's a whole new story. And I think that, if 6 games is not even that big of a deal. So I don't think that there's something wrong with that.
It's 2 starts that he's losing, 2 starts that the Pirates are losing.
Maybe he should keep some composure. Maybe he shouldn't freak out when he's letting up runs like that and just start trying to take out players.
It's in the history of the game. That's what happens.
The history of the game is to purposely hit players at bat. You're supposed to hit them.
That's not the purpose, but guess what? That's in the history of the game. It happens. Pitchers do that.
It does, but not intentionally.
Just a little Yeah, it does.
So what do you suggest should have happened?
I suggest ejection. Yes, definitely. 6-game suspension. No, you got to do something a little bit more. It got him in the shoulder. It's like,
What's 6 games out of 150 games?
it's 2 starts for him. Pitchers only make 32 starts a year. That's 2 starts for him. That's 2 starts to the Pirates.
Hopefully he learns his lesson then. That's the point of it.
He would learn his lesson with an ejection. It was in the first inning. It's like, really? The first inning? I can see this is repeated behavior. First inning. It's like, give me a little bit of time. Who's to say that it was intentional?
No one's to say it's intentional, but the fact that he's let up these runs, it leads to a point that he goes directly toward the pitch. It wasn't like it slipped. He directly aimed it at the batter. He threw it towards his head. It was. I just don't understand how you can just wave it off if it's not a big deal. It's dangerous. As if it hit him in the head, and now let's say something very serious had happened to Alan Craig. Now what do you say?
Then, yeah.
It's part of the game?
Yes, the ejection would have handled that. 6-game suspension? Ejection would have definitely handled. He would have learned his lesson. Even a warning that he got him on the shoulder. Hey, watch it. Next time you do that, you're gone.
Well,
warning or ejection.
Well, bottom line, the league has to send a message, and I think that's what they want to do, that they're not going to tolerate that type of behavior anymore. So Sanchez will serve that 6-game suspension, and hopefully he learns his lesson, and hopefully everybody in the league knows that MLB won't be tolerating that. But let's move on to the Orioles. Pretty good season thus far, right?
Yeah.
Just a few games behind the Red Sox. What are your thoughts on their season so far? How about those O's?
The Orioles are doing good. Even as a Red Sox fan, I got to admit, they're tearing it up. Got couple of numbers here for you. They're fourth in runs right now in the league. They're eighth in home runs, fourth in RBI, seventh in batting average, hitting .263. That's pretty good for a major league team. You usually see teams around 240 area, so 263, that's doing pretty good. Having a good season. I would like to see a little bit more consistency from their pitching, but it's been good enough to get them to this point. But I think if they want to take the next step, beat Boston, they're going to have to turn it up a notch a little bit because Boston is some pretty serious competition this year.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think that offensively, the Orioles right now are playing the type of baseball that they need to be playing. And I think that the biggest problem looking at it, even though they are playing well, is in their pitching and in their defensive aspect of their game. They're 17th in their ERAs and they're 23rd with quality starts. They're getting by because their offense is able to put up enough points to win games for them. And I think that if they want to compete and run it to the end, they got to definitely have good pitching.
Yeah, and that could be addressed whether it's bringing up someone from the minors. I know they have some pretty good prospects in there. Kevin Gosman, he's struggling a little bit this year down in AA. It may be through an acquisition of someone. There's some pitchers out there. Matt Garza's name is always out there. He's a quality starter I've seen in Chicago. So we just have to see what they're planning to do. But for right now, keep up the runs. That's how some teams win. Some teams win with pitching. You know, the Giants won 2 World Series without offense, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could happen.
Well, keeping with the topic of the Red Sox, they're having their best start since 2002. Do you think they will keep this up through the rest of the season, or are they going to burn out?
Big Papi and the boys, they're going to be there all the way, baby. I'm loving it. I'm a Red Sox fan, not ashamed to admit it. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see John Lester coming back after a disastrous season last year. I don't know what happened to him. I can't tell you what happened, but guess what? They're doing it now. Lester and Clay Buchholz, 10-0 right now, 2.06 ERA, 80 strikeouts. Lights out. Their youth is going to keep them up. Jacoby Ellsbury, Will Middlebrooks. It's just looking really good right now. So I'm loving what's happening up in B-Town.
Yeah, I think that they're a quality team right now. They're top 5 in every offensive category you could give them, and they're top 10 in their defensive categories. And I think that they have experienced players, but they also have some young players to keep some energy on the team. But I don't know how well they're going to be able to handle it later in the season. They're starting off strong, which is good, but it's a long season. You got to play that the whole way through. And I think that they're going to start to die off, and I think they may struggle in the postseason. I do.
What do you think of Big Papi's comments? This is our city.
I love it, man. I love Big Papi. I know he's going through a divorce right now, which is kind of hard to hear because him and his wife especially his wife did so much for the Red Sox organization, doing things like that. But I think he's going to be that big veteran force behind this team. He's going to knock out about 20, 30 home runs this year, driving 100 runs. I think he is going to be the Big Papi that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, he said everything that could be said. I have to agree. I think that they're rolling right now.
Yeah, it was great. Well, let's go down 95 to New York. What do you expect from Derek Jeter coming off of that ankle injury?
I think you're not gonna have the same Derek Jeter you've had before. You have to remember he's 38 years old now.
Right.
He's coming off of an ankle injury. He's not. I'm sure he's doing everything he can to be at 100%. But at 38 years old, coming off of an ankle injury, trying to play with these young guns, I don't think that he's going to be able to keep up. I think he's still going to be a presence out on the field, but I don't think he's going to be the Derek Jeter that we all know.
I gotta say, I agree. His ability, his defense ability, like a lot of baseball experts, Bill James, that type, they really think that his defense really hasn't been his strong suit his whole career. So he goes out there, he makes the plays. I think when he comes back, it's going to be that emotional boost, that thing Yankee Stadium we waiting for. Even though I can't stand New York, I can't stand the Yankees. Jeter's a heck of a guy. He's going to bring that, like I said, that emotional charge, that veteran leadership, that Alex Rodriguez, when he comes back, he's not going to bring. So they're going to need something like that. But they have had guys step up big time. Travis Hafner, Vernon Wells, 2 guys that people are just written off completely, just bums, have really just come on for them. So I think Jeter will be there to give them that boost.
Yeah.
So since you guys are in agreement that my man Derek Jeter is going to be a shell of himself when he comes back, how many years do you think he'll play?
I would give him 3 to 5 years, probably. I think that each year he's going to just become less of an asset on the field and more of just an asset in the dugout. Just a presence to have that you feel he's still there, he's a part of the team. But I think that every year you're gonna see less out of him on the field.
Like a Jason Kidd kind of.
I give him 2 years, just about. I think he's about done. I think he knows where his body's at, and when he sees that he can't produce anymore, he'll be smart enough to know, okay, it's time for me to go ahead, give it up, let some of these young guys come up and play.
I don't think he is going to be smart enough to know that. I think that he knows who his name is and he knows how people look at him, and I think that he's going to be one of those players that won't know when to give it up until it's 2 years too late.
Well, I think he already has the accolades. 3,000 hits is met. He will go down as the greatest Yankee shortstop ever. When you're talking about the greatest Yankees of all time, he's top 5 in my book, guaranteed.
But there's a lot of players that have those stats that don't know when to hang it up. They don't know when to stop, and I don't think that he's going to know when to stop. I think he's going to go past his time to stop.
We'll just have to agree to disagree on that one.
Well, let's switch gears real quick. We're gonna break it off from baseball and let's go to the ring, the UFC ring. John Jones, is he the best fighter in UFC right now?
Oh yeah, I got to say yes. I have to. He's shown time and time again that he is just amazing in the ring. He's able to do so much. Those long limbs, 6'4". I also got to say, Chael Sonnen is a bum. All this talk, your mouth runs, and you can't beat anybody. I'm not impressed.
I like John Jones, but I think that it's difficult to say he's the best right now. You still have people in the ring like Anderson Silva and GSP, and maybe you can say he's the best in his weight class, but you can't make that decision until they fought each other. And with different weight classes, it makes it difficult to decide who is the very best. And I think that to make that decision, you might even have to have him drop a weight class. And I mean, he can do it, but I wouldn't go as far enough to say he's the best right now.
All right, well, let's go then pound for pound then. Pound for pound, is he the best fighter? I think so. I definitely think so.
You think he's a better pound for pound fighter than GSP or Anderson Silva?
I'll say yes right now. It's evidenced by that big shiny belt he has on right now. I think.
But GSP also has one.
Well, I think John he's just done a lot better. He's proven to me. He's shown me. I'm convinced. GSP is
By
still,
beating Chael Sonnen, he's proved to you that he's the best fighter?
He's beaten other people too. It's not just Chael. So, I mean, he's shown over time that, yeah, he's, if not the top, he's up there in the top 2.
Oh, I would agree he's up there, but I don't know if I would go far enough to say he's the top yet. I think that GSP or Anderson Silva easily are above him, and I think that you got to give him more time. He beat Chael Sonnen. Congratulations. I think that he needs to take down some bigger people before I can start saying he's the best pound-for-pound fighter and he's the best fighter in the ring right now. I just can't say it.
Well, I mean, until someone takes that belt off of him, I got to keep what I'm saying. But I think that's the beautiful thing about debate, though. It's just going to keep on going on. So, like I said, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think pound for pound right now, he's the man.
Looks like Balake and Aaron are not getting along today. So let's move on again. The Stanley Cup playoffs are underway. Who do you have winning it all this year?
I think it's easy to give the 1 seeds, the Penguins and the Blackhawks, but with the cup, with the playoffs just starting, I just watched the Bruins. I think if the Bruins can get going, I think that the Bruins can be a very dangerous team, and I also think that the Ducks can also be another dangerous team to fight the Blackhawks, because the Blackhawks are a very young team and they're fast, but I think that if they get beat up a little bit throughout these playoffs, that they're going to fall. And the Penguins just seem to have. I feel like they're rolling too nicely that they're going to slip up at some point. I think that there's some teams that can take them down. The way the Bruins are playing, I think the Penguins should be scared right now.
I got to take Chicago with this one, not just because of the players like Jonathan Toews, but you also have, and Patrick Kane also, but that Chicago crowd, I don't know if you've ever seen a game in the United Center, but it's amazing the noise that they made, even at the Bulls games. Those Chicago fans are some of the most passionate. I think that's definitely going to play a factor. Home ice. If I had to pick my dark horse team, I got to go local with the Caps. Earlier this season, they were more than written off. They struggled mightily. They could not buy a win. Now they've shown up. They are playing well. I think that everything continues to go well. Ovi leads that charge. Don't be surprised to see Washington.
Yeah, I think, though, that I don't think the Blackhawks – I think that the Blues are a dark horse team to watch out for, because the Blues are a rough team. And I think that if they play the Blackhawks in the next round, that they could beat the Blackhawks up pretty bad to a point that these young guys aren't going to be able to play maybe to a Game 7 with the Blues. And I think that I think you could see the Blues and the Ducks in the finals going for that Stanley Cup to get in. And I don't think the Blackhawks will even make it.
Do you think St. Louis can go into the United Center and take out Chicago in those games?
Yeah,
do you think they can do it?
I think they
against
do.
that crowd,
I think they
that
can.
noise.
I think they can, because I think that you have to remember, you still have a young team in the Blackhawks, and this isn't the same team that won the Stanley Cup before. So you have guys that aren't going to be expecting this type of intensity on the ice that the Blues are going to bring. Whether you're home or away, it's the same intensity, and I think the Blackhawks might even be not scared, but they're not going to expect it, and it might catch them off guard and put them in a hole in the series.
Well, that's what the playoffs are all about, guys. You never know who's going to take it, but that's what we do, right? We watch it, and we're going to be back to report it. Well, that was a great debate, guys. Really good. We're going to put the brakes on this show, and we're going to send it out to Nicolette Black. She's out on the field, so take it away, Nicolette.
Hello, my name is Nicolette Black. I'm currently here at the Frostburg State University Baseball Stadium. I'm going to interview Coach Robertson. Take a look. So far this season, are you satisfied with your team's 24 wins and 14 losses?
Yes and no. I mean, we've lost to some teams that I feel like we should beat, and but we've put on a good run here lately. It's just been a struggle because our conference tournament ends so early, and we're a week and a half away from that in the past, and we're trying to starting to hit our stride. And we've been outside, and the weather's gotten nicer, and kind of we've been stuck inside with the winter the way it was. So yes and no. From that standpoint of the difficulties and some of the things that we had faced earlier in the season, yeah, I'm satisfied with that. At the same time, you lose to some teams you feel like you should beat. Those are always going to haunt you.
What has been your toughest task as head coach?
Wow. I would think just keeping everybody motivated and, keeping our goals in mind, even though we've been in and out of the inside for so much of the time for our practice time. We had to play so many games on the road, and just keeping the guys motivated and help them realize that, hey, no matter what the situation is, no matter where we're playing these games, that we still have a chance to win, that I feel like that we're a better team than most of the teams that we played. And if we go out and put forth our best effort and play our best game, that would normally show through on the field, regardless of any of the circumstances that we've had to deal with that may not be ideal, for a spring sport college baseball team.
What made you want to choose to become a baseball coach as your profession?
Oh, wow. I probably knew by my junior year in college, was about 1998, this is something that I wanted to get into. This has just been such a part of my life. So many people say it's in your blood. Baseball has been such a part of my life and given me so many things and so many blessings that, why wouldn't I try and go and do this for a living and get somebody to pay me to do something that you love to do? And I think it's just a matter of, I think I had a lot of young coaches in my life or coaches in my life when I was younger that, allowed me to want to give back. Both my parents are teachers, are in the teaching profession. So I think it's kind of one of those things that is instilled in you at a young age, and you kind of grow up and you get the opportunity to do something like this and give back to some other guys and hopefully impart some knowledge on them and some things. And, and it's a fun way to do it. So I think that's why.
I would like to thank Coach Robertson for allowing me to interview him. My name is Nicolette Black. Now back to the studio with 60 Seconds with the Cats.
Frostburg State's baseball team swept the visiting Mount Olisus Wednesday 13-2 and 10-0. The Bobcats finished the season with a home record of 6-1. They will try and extend their winning streak to 6 games on Thursday when they travel to Washington, Pennsylvania to face the presidents of Washington and Jefferson. The men's head lacrosse coach Tommy Pierce was awarded the CAC Coach of the Year award Wednesday afternoon. Coach Pierce led the Bobcats to an 11-6 overall record and their first appearance in the CAC tournament. FSU also improved by 9 wins and finished with 3 league victories. Congratulations, Coach Pierce. Congratulations to freshman softball pitcher Marianne Moore for being named the Rookie of the Year and earning first-team honors along with 9 other players. Moore led the team with 16 wins, 103 strikeouts, and 154 1/3 innings pitched. She also leads the CAC with 4 saves, is second in the league in wins, and third in strikeouts. In men's track and field, freshman Michael Croner has been named the CAC Men's Field Athlete of the Week. At the Paul Kaiser Classic last Saturday, Croner finished third in the high jump, and his height at Shippensburg is the second highest jump in the league this year as they head into the CAC Championship weekend at Salisbury. Stay tuned. We will be right back with more debate after the break.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still. 1 second. Go, go, go. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Welcome back, guys. Now it's time for things to get serious. I would like to welcome the big cat, Franklin Muse, our very own, to the studio.
How you guys doing today? Doing all right.
For this next series of topics, we're going to touch on the NBA. It's playoff basketball season, fellas, so act accordingly, okay? First up are the Lakers. The Lakers suffered many injuries before the start of the playoffs. How different would the series be have they gone, and how different would the series have gone if they didn't lose key players towards the tail end of the regular season?
I'm going to fill this one first, guys. The series would not change at all. They would still be swept by the Spurs. Like, everyone's like, maybe Kobe, they wouldn't have lost by 31 points, maybe, but because Kobe's a closer, that's what he does. But I don't think they have enough tools like the Spurs have to win any of those games.
I agree completely. I think it might have gone maybe Game 5, Game 6, but this still would have resulted in a loss, and the Lakers would still be done with their season.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Blake. I think Game 6 definitely, but still, San Antonio, that is a well-oiled machine down there. The Washington play, the ball movement, the unselfish play, the guys that know how to step out the role players. I think 6 games, but yeah, LA still bounced in the first round.
I'm glad you guys agree with me.
6 games?
6 games.
6 games?
6 games.
4 games. They'd have got
See,
swept.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that Kobe would have found a way to pull out at least one of those wins. I don't think that Kobe would get swept. I don't think that's it's not in his vocabulary to be swept. He doesn't understand that.
I feel like he probably would have got a game to double overtime, but they would have still lost.
You know what Tim Duncan did to that Mamba? Bit his head off. I mean, Dwight Howard is playing like a pansy. You know,
Pau Gasol, he
Pau
can't even
Gasol,
catch a cold.
Steve Nash talking about his hip hurt. I mean, come on, man. You got to remember, though, in the beginning of the season, when they were healthy, they were terrible. They finished the season in 8th place, 7th place because Kobe scored 50. But when you're playing a veteran team that's rolling on all cylinders, I still think they would have been done in 4. Probably would have lost each game by 10 points.
I agree with you 100%.
Thanks, Big Cat.
I also think that the Lakers can thank the NBA, the refs, for getting them to this place. They get a lot of favorable calls that if you watch videos, the tape of it, it's like, should you really be refereeing in the NBA? I don't think so. So they can write big old thank you letters to the officials for that one.
I still don't think that they would have been swept. I think that for you to say that that Kobe Bryant and the Lakers would just have been swept that easily by 10 points every game, just dominated, I think that's a little crazy. I think they would have at least pulled out a game. That would not have been a full sweep. I think it would have gone to Game 5 at least.
They might have got one win. But hey.
Still a loss.
They still would have lost the series.
Let's take a look at one of the historic rivals in the NBA, Boston, New York. Before the series started, a lot of people thought Boston was going to run through New York, and then New York ran through Boston, and now Boston is running through New York. What is going on? Somebody tell me what's going on.
I think that the Celtics are just a stronger team mentally. Like, I think if the Knicks would have went down 3-0, that series would have been over. They would have crushed them. Game 4, it wouldn't have been close. But the Celtics are a veteran team. They got KG. He's not going out without a fight. Like Blake said in the last question, I would say KG is kind of like Kobe in the same mindset. Like they play through pain. They always show up. So that's why I feel like they're doing a rope-a-dope on the Knicks right now. They let them shoot themselves out the first 3 games, and they said, all right, you guys got your punches in, now it's time for us, and we're going to steal the series.
You know, and I think that the Celtics are just a team that you can never count out until it's over. Until the series is over and it says that the Celtics are out of the playoffs, they're not out. Because that is what they are. They're a team of veterans that always find a way to come back. And I also have noticed almost a lack of defensive effort from the Knicks in the last game. And I think that, I don't know if it's that they almost look like they're giving up, but I think that at this point, I would call the Celtics to pull this one out now. They have momentum.
I gotta say, I never heard the Knicks and defense mentioned in the same sentence before. That's amazing for me to hear because I've never seen a speck of defense from them. Outside of Tyson Chandler, I can't call that defense. It's just not good, man. But yeah, Boston, you want to see what they went through last year against the Heat. Yeah, thought they were down, battled back, and even though they lost that series, they showed that fight. This year, they lose Rondo. All sorts of problems.
I feel like the Celtics might be on a revenge series right now. They're going to show everybody that they don't need some of the players they lost to win these games.
So disrespectful.
I'm sorry, man.
Do you know how many steals these boys get a game?
Steals is not on defense, man.
Steals is defense.
When you don't have the ball and then you take the ball, that is when you're playing defense.
That's not the only thing, though. You got to stop me from scoring points, too.
Taking the ball from you is stopping them from scoring.
23 points in one.
If I take the ball from you, you now can't score, and that would be playing defense. That's a steal.
Defense is more than just stealing the ball, though.
I think Aaron's going for the whole transition. They might be able to steal the ball, but if they're not scoring off those turnovers, then what's the whole point?
I just see. All I was saying is I just see a lack of effort that they had earlier in the series that they don't have now.
I feel like they probably burned themselves out. I really think that's what happened. I think Melo's going to have to strap on the big backpack, put his whole team in there, and carry him to the next round.
And I think Melo's, when he was scoring all those points, 50 points a game, 40 points, 30 points, people kind of forgot a little bit that he still, at his heart and core, a volume shooter.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of shots, is going to get a lot of points from taking all those shots. Those just happen to be going in at that time. Now he has that stretch where they're not going in like he's used to. So we just got to remember that he is what he is at this point in his career.
What's odd though is Steve Novak is not playing that hardly any minutes. He's getting about 5 minutes a game, maybe. I think if the Knicks go back to playing a little more Novak, they'll space the floor. So when the double team comes down on Melo, he can actually kick it out.
I think that is a very valid point because Melo, everyone knows Melo gonna get the ball. He's gonna get the ball. That was the problem with Amari, and when they had those boys back, when they had Jeremy Lin, they didn't know if Melo's gonna be able to gel with those guys because he's a superstar. Everyone knows Melo, as my man Stephen A. says, he's box office. He's big time. So I think once he figures out how to get past the double team like Kobe can, or LeBron James, then I think Melo, he's going to take his game to a whole nother level.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Game 6 is what, Friday, guys? Yeah. We'll see if they close it out or if we're going to Game 7. That's going to be that's going to be crazy. But let's talk about the Miami Heat. They made easy work of the Milwaukee Bucks. Should Brandon B.J. Jennings have said that they were going to win the series?
He should not have opened his mouth. He should have, when one of those situations comes, you say that in the locker room. All right, guys, their pressure's on them. We can win in 6. You don't go to the press. You don't say it publicly. The Heat are the Heat. Even if LeBron freezes up, becomes LeBrick like he always does, he still has D. Wade, still has Boz, still has Mario Chalmers, still has all those bad boys.
Don't forget about Ray Allen.
I didn't actually have a problem with it because I don't think that it was a statement where they actually truly almost felt that they were going to do that. I think it was more of a statement where they had nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose, and the Heat have everything to lose in that game, in that series. And I think it was almost to light a fire to be like, call out LeBron and say, you're not going to win, you're not going to be an 8 seed, and see if he freezes up. You know, I don't think that it was a deliberate, we're going to win. They truly thought that they were going to dominate the Heat. It was more just to call out LeBron and see if he could step up to it. And I don't really have a problem with it.
If it was last year, it would have worked.
Yeah.
He'd have froze up. He'd
Exactly.
have paid with LeBrick, it would have been over.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Blake. I had no problem with him saying that. I take it from the perspective of he's got to get that fan base pumped up there. I know they're excited, but then I know when they saw the seeding, it's Miami. So you're thinking, oh man, even if your team like it's the Heat, you're gonna go down. It's like somebody has to be there to say something to fire that fan base up there in Milwaukee. I think he was right in what he did. Didn't come out the way he wanted it to. Wasn't expected to happen, but can't hurt.
Nothing happens. They lose, and it's the same what we expected.
I feel like the biggest thing in this series was that Miami could win at home and away, but the Bucks could not win away.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. The Miami fans, that stadium, I seen them whenever they play. LeBron James come flying down that lane, slam it, the whole crowd is bananas.
Well, that all white, yo, got him, man. Okay, let's go to the West Coast, baby. Westbrook is out. Crazy, because he played the rest of the game after he got injured. Do the Thunder need him to win, or is Durant finally going to show everyone that he's capable to win without my man Russell?
I feel like Kevin Durant, if they can survive this series, because obviously Westbrook falling probably demoralized him a little bit, but if Kevin Durant can rise above this, he's going to show everybody that. He's even going to show Westbrook, he's like, I'll let you take all those shots in the regular season, in the beginning, but now it's time. This is my team, my time to shine.
I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he can do it. I think that he needed Russell Westbrook, and I think that people are now going to just find out that he does. And he's surrounded by defensive players. Sergio Ibaka, Kevin Martin. He needs someone else that he can work off of in the offense. He can't just do it by himself. And I think that they could lose this series.
I agree. I think he needs help. The best of the best cannot do it by themselves. Jordan, as much as he wants to talk, and his ego is huge, he couldn't do it without Scottie. He didn't win anything until Scottie got there. Conversely, Scottie didn't win anything. He wouldn't win anything unless he had Jordan. So you have to have help. And Durant, while he has Kevin Martin who's able to score, he's more of a shooter, not that guy you're going to rely on for 25 more points. So,
I have to disagree with you guys, 100%, because I think Kevin Durant, leading scorer, he's so tall, he's so like he can shoot over anybody in the league. And when he gets hot, the only person who's better than him at like when they are firing on all cylinders is probably Stephen Curry and Kobe. They're the only ones that can probably shoot better than him.
Well, I like you, Big Cat. I must admit, that's the passion that I like to see, guys. We're going to take a quick break from the panel. The Bobcast crew got the awesome opportunity to get up close and personal with the Baltimore Orioles. Let's take a look.
My name is Magdala Lusan, and I'm here today at the Orioles game where they're playing the Tampa Bay Rays. I have the opportunity of speaking and interviewing Chris Davis. Let's take a look. How well do you think the team has been doing so far?
I think we've done really well considering what we've been through. You know, we've only been home really for 3 days, and it was kind of a hectic 3 days being here with opening day and in such a short turnaround. We had a really tough road trip that we just went on, and I think we did well. 3-3 to start the year is not bad. We obviously want to try to improve on that, but I like where we are so far.
What are your hopes for the rest of the season?
I hope we keep everybody healthy. I think that's the biggest thing for us. Last year we had a lot of injuries. A lot of guys had to step up and did a good job of coming up here and filling in roles of guys who were injured. I think the biggest thing for us is continue to stay healthy and play the way we've been playing. You know, I think that the biggest thing for us last year was we stuck together and we gave ourselves a chance to win no matter how many innings we were playing. So as long as we can stay healthy and stay on the field, we'll be all right.
And how exciting has the season been for you so far?
It's been pretty exciting. A lot of crazy things have gone on. You know, obviously when you're swinging the bat well, I think it makes things a little bit easier. But other than that, you know, I mean, I think we've been playing pretty sound baseball. There are a few games where we kind of let them get away from us, but overall we've been playing well, and it's going to be a fun year.
After the game, I had a chance of going into the locker room and hearing a couple of the players. Let's take a look.
We'll run cushion, and the second inning getting to go out with 2 more on top was really nice.
You were aware that probably you were the next up, you know, for Jake Arrieta when he came out?
Yeah, I figured I was because it was, you know, he doesn't really like to go righty-righty most times, and this lineup had a whole bunch of lefties in it, scattered all through, so it was a good situation for me to be up.
Well, in the second one, I was shortened due to rain. I think I threw 65 pitches in 5 innings, so you know, not at all. But still things I can improve on to go deeper into the game, force contact a little bit earlier. But you know, if I'm in a situation where strikeouts are available, you know, I'm going to go for it, and you know, keep guys from putting good swings on the ball. And that's just something that I'm going to have to do in certain situations.
How was the stuff tonight, Jake, compared to the first 2?
Might have been better. Like I said, I was off a tick with certain things, didn't establish my breaking ball and slider early enough in the game. So I think I tried to force it a little bit here and there. But, you know, when I had guys on base with less than 2 outs, I was able to get some big strikeouts. So that's the most important thing.
I'm Magdala Lusant, reporting to you from Camden Yards.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism.
Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Welcome back. This is the last panel of the season. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. This is crazy.
We've had a great time bringing you the latest and the greatest sports news. Now let's end this season with a bang. For the last topic section, we're going to focus on the NFL draft. This was a draft like I've never seen before. Let's get to it. So the mock drafts were null and void in this year. What is the most shocking pick in this year's draft?
I'm gonna fill this one first, guys. For the first most shocking, I'm not gonna go with picks. I'm gonna go with position of picks. The first 5 picks in the draft were offensive linemen or defensive linemen. It was crazy. I did not expect that at all. I saw the mock draft they had, Manti, Barkley, Martin, all going like first top 10. And now all of a sudden you got all these linemen guys coming out because I think teams are realizing that run option is deadly now. They're gonna need some people to penetrate and they're gonna need some people to protect.
Yeah.
For me, that was the most shocking.
Yeah, actually watching it though, I think one of my most shocking was early on, and it was when the Chiefs had the 3rd round pick and they traded it to the Dolphins. And immediately I thought that the Dolphins would pick up Lane Johnson because they need that. And they went for Deion Jordan, and I thought that was a creative little pick because they can also work that with leverage and use a trade and use that with the Chiefs because they want Brandon Albert. So I think that was a surprising but very, very strong move for the Dolphins.
I gotta say, I was a little shocked by the quarterbacks that fell out. I mean, it was pretty much understood at least one of them was going to go, whether it was going to be Geno, whether it was going to be EJ, which really popped out at me. I did not expect Buffalo to pull that. But yeah, it was expected one of those quarterbacks, top tier ones, were going to go. Then to see someone like Tyler Bray, who most people had drafted somewhere to fall all the way out to undrafted free agency. So I think that was pretty shocking.
I can respect your QB, that you were surprised they won't go, but last draft, QB rich. So I expected this season not to be heavy QB. And every team from last year with the read option and everybody figured it out, they know most teams already have a quarterback secure. They already know who they're going with. So I'm not surprised at all that Geno didn't get picked up till late, that Barkley didn't get picked up till late. I'm not surprised about that at all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me, but yeah, usually when you watch the draft, you like see,
you can see the quarterbacks, running back, wide receiver, they going first.
But this was definitely a defensive draft this year. That definitely was not this was not a QB draft. This was not the focus. Yeah, that's why I was not surprised either when Geno went late because no one needs him right now.
It was a D-line, O-line kind of thing.
Yeah,
so to
sure.
see some of the big guys finally get some recognition, it's really nice.
It was a fat man's dream come true. Must have had a lot of donuts in the green room. But let's keep with the draft as we talked a little bit. Geno and what about Manti Te'o? Both of them. They were projected to go high, but neither did. Wait to what? 2nd round pick, I think.
Or even later.
So was this surprising? Especially, I know that we knew it wasn't going to be QB rich, but the fact that they didn't even make it out of the 1st round.
That was very surprising to me because I particularly don't watch like the draft during the day. I like watch the mock drafts and I just get updates on my phone about who drafted who. And you have those key big names that you know. You just want to see, who went here, where did they go, and they just not showing up. And you get all these guys that you don't know. You're like, how come Geno hasn't gone yet? Or where's Manti Te'o? How come he hasn't gone yet? That was for them to go so late. I was surprised. But the teams that got him, I mean, the Chargers, they really didn't. They needed Manti Te'o, but what is he going to do in San Diego?
I think that was actually a good pickup for the Chargers to pick up Manti Te'o. That gives them some strength in the center of the field. They got some now linebacker power. I think it was actually good for them. I was surprised that Manti Te'o didn't go in the 1st round as well. I guess you can kind of put that on just the luggage that comes with him now that he has.
Yeah,
if you're going to pick up him, you're going to have to deal with all of that. And I think that might have been something. I guess maybe San Diego's a good fit for that. But I was not surprised by Geno at all because, in my opinion, not only was it not a QB draft, but I don't think that Geno's going to be that great in the NFL as people think he is. I think that I think almost the Jets might have been a good pick for him because right now they don't really know who they have at quarterback.
The Jets are a mess.
That's his best chance right now. I just don't. I think that in Geno's mind, he's better than he really is compared to everyone else. And this kind of might have been like a reality check for him to realize that he's not that great. For him to call his mother and say that we made it before he even got drafted was, I mean, you need to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I love on the websites and also on Bleacher Report, NFL.com a little bit, the many stages of Geno Smith's face. When he saw it kept going down, just like all excited at first and then it just.
If you ask me personally, if I was in the draft and I was projected to go early and I didn't go early, I can completely understand how they feel. I would feel like I was the worst player in the league. It's like getting picked last in kickball on the playground.
To be picked over like an offensive tackle is definitely not a good feeling. But he definitely, but he also has to understand that he's not going to go in and start over Tom Brady or some of these other quarterbacks. A lot of these teams are set right now in quarterbacks, so his opportunities were limited. He just got stuck in a bad draft year.
I was a little surprised with Geno because when I saw Philly go up, I'm like, oh, this is it. Nope, doesn't do it. I'm like, because you would think they're not too settled on Vic right now. You would think Chip Kelly would want somebody to work with for the futures, but obviously he's not in their plans. So kept going down. But I feel bad a little bit for Mark Sanchez because to get that pressure right back on, and you just get rid of Tebow, but you put the right pressure right back on his back, bring in Geno.
But that's part of the game. If you want to be the starter, you're going to have pressure.
You're going to have to work.
If you're the better player, step up and show that you're the better player. He's a rookie. Show that you're better than him. You've been in the league. I think that if anything, it's just going to help push Mark Sanchez. Not that he's going to live up to it, in my opinion, but I think it's good for him to have that because he needs it.
Well, I just see what happened last year with Tebow not even playing in the way Sanchez is broke down. Because you know what's going to happen. One game into the season, and Sanchez starts to struggle. First game, that first pick, listen, stadium, first game, home game for the Jets. So that first pick,
it's going to be a rough season.
I feel like the Jets for a quarterback is like a death sentence. That's your career is over because Mark Sanchez could be the worst quarterback in the league, and they're going to keep playing him. The staff and the head coach and the GM, like Mark Sanchez, that's their guy. So he's not going anywhere. So for them to draft Geno and like for him to play there, I think he's just going to be sitting on the bench just like Tebow did, wasting time, waiting for the contract to come up. Maybe if he has a couple good games, then he won't get exiled out of the league and another team will pick him up. Hopefully it won't happen to him like it happened to Tebow.
And then I expected I expected him to drop a little bit because of the baggage, because of his not so great showing in the national championship game. So I kind of expected that. He gets San Diego. I mean, he's away from that media circus that is New York. Yeah. He's away from the pressure that comes from maybe playing up in New England where you're expected to be on top of your stuff. People are going to mess with you in the media. So
I think he did get lucky with San Diego because San Diego is not known for their defense. They had Sean Merriman back in the day, but we all know where he's at now.
Yeah, lights out.
It's all about, I think for San Diego, it's all about the offense. So I think he can sneak in and become really good in the league.
I think he was a great sleeper pick because I think he has potential to be really good, and everyone will miss out on the fact that they didn't pick him up earlier.
I must agree. I think both players, Geno and Manti, got great picks. So a lot of people thought Geno was going to go to Philadelphia, but I'm not sold that Vic is done. I think it was his team and his line that pretty much crushed him. So I think the Jets, great fit for Geno because he can do everything that Mark Sanchez can do and everything that he can't do. And that's win football games, and that's throw the ball, and he can move. Now Manti, great fit. He's in California, which is close to Hollywood, where he can pursue his acting career, and that's all he is an actor, and nobody's going to pay attention to
I think they film Catfish out in that way.
They do.
I think you're right on that one.
He'll be good out there.
He'll be great out there.
Have a lot of fans.
But let's move on. Matt Barkley, USC's great quarterback, is now an Eagle. Do you think he's prepared to deal with the pressure that comes with playing in the city of Philadelphia?
Not one bit. Look what he did to Michael Vick. And I would say after his whole dogfighting thing and losing all his sponsorships and his contract with Atlanta, just him struggling there, Philly's a big town. You got the Steelers and you got the Eagles. They're supposed to be known for making the playoffs. Donovan McNabb set the bar really high for QBs in Philadelphia. And I don't think Matt Barkley's going to reach that bar at all.
I look at it in two ways. I think first, I don't know how well Matt Barkley's going to fit into Chip Kelly's style of football anyway. I just don't think that he's going to be able to go in and play the style that he wants him to play. And on top of that, look at the past USC quarterbacks. Name how many of them have come into the NFL and actually had an impact on the NFL. And I think that he has that pressure of that on him too, because you know that's a stat that he knows. He knows that all of these great so-called USC quarterbacks have entered and just done nothing. And you know in the back of his head, every time he knows that that is also on him. Everyone knows that stat and everyone's looking at him that way. And I don't think that he's going to be able to live up to it at all.
I don't want to write this kid off yet. I mean, I see him go to Philly. I see the weapons that he has at his disposal. Behind him, he's going to have LaShawn McCoy. To his sides, he's going to have Deshaun Jackson. He's going to have Jason Avant on the other side with him. I think he'll be all right. And Jeremy Maclin also. So I think with the weapons, he should be. I'm not going to write him off yet. I think he can show us something.
But what type of style of football do you think Chip Kelly's going to run?
Oh, I know the style. I know he's.
And do you think that Matt Barkley can fit into that?
Don't know until you try.
Let me ask you guys a question. Name the three last quarter. Name 5 of the previous quarterbacks in Philadelphia.
Who they got? Nick.
We got Michael Vick.
Mike Vick.
Don
McNabb.
Are you counting like small guys that played for like a little bit?
I got them 3 right there. That's
all
that's about it.
You got AJ Feely.
Well, what do? They run the football, baby. These guys are mobile.
That's
and you
true.
know what that boy Sunshine going to be? Sunshine going to be just like my man Kevin Cole. It's too cold in Philadelphia for Sunshine. He going to be in Arizona somewhere. Philadelphia's not the city for him. He'll just sit on the sideline, and if Vic messes up, he'll get in and might get a shot. But
I have to comment on something Aaron said earlier about the weapons that he has with him. I think those weapons are great, but playing in college and NFL and those cities, those fans are completely different. Like say Mike Vick does throw 2 picks in the game, pull him out, and then he goes in. Now he has to not only battle against Mike Vick's errors, but he has to turn the game completely around as a rookie. I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
And Matt Barkley playing at USC, he's used to the big crowds and all that, but you also have to remember USC hasn't been able to be a contender in these bowl games recently, and so he hasn't had all that pressure of like a big game meaning a lot to him.
True.
And he's now going to have some of the worst fans to have pressure on you is the Eagles, and I just don't think he's going to be able to handle it.
Well, hey, we're going to move on, guys, because I want to do something really, really special for Big Cat out here, Franklin Muse.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the Pack, and this is how we're going to end things off. Eddie Lacy, arguably the best running back in the draft this year. And who got him?
Green Bay, baby. We got him.
Talk to me about it.
All right. Aaron Rodgers, the bad man that he is.
Yes, sir.
He needs help in the backfield. Ryan Grant, he did his thing. They let him go. They brought him back. James Starks, he gets hurt. Sergio Benson, he gets hurt. We have no running game. We have wide receivers that are probably last year we probably had one of the best receiving corps in the NFL. But if he's getting sacked all the time because he didn't have any, because you know we can't run the ball, so you know we're gonna have to throw it. So they just bringing in the blitzes. Aaron Rodgers has been the most sacked quarterback 2 seasons in a row. If we have a power runner like Eddie Lacy back there to block and run the ball, we're going to the ship. That's all I can say. We're already a bad team, and we just got one piece that we didn't have. And we got arguably the best running back in the draft. That's the biggest steal of all time.
And another stat that sticks out is the fact that the Packers haven't had a 100-yard game running back since 2010.
That's ridiculous.
They haven't had that. And I think that's just going to completely open this team up to a whole new set of just weapons that they can use. And I think that the Packers are going to be really dangerous.
Our play action passes, they're deadly when we didn't have a running game. Now that we have a running game, James Jones is going touchdown. He's throwing Aaron Rodgers throwing 60 yards to James Jones every play. I can tell you that.
Well, see, but I got to say, I did like seeing Eddie Lacy play. I watched a couple Bama games, and yeah, the boy can run. He gets small and big competitions. Against small competition wasn't even close. Just steamrolling guys to the end zone. It wasn't even funny. They had to turn the game off sometimes. I'm like, this is not fair, man. You can't do this. But we'll have to see. I think he will be a good running back for Green Bay. I think that's something Green Bay has been missing since the days of Amon Green running for 1,000 yards. So I think you should
But
see something special from
one
him.
thing I have to say about my boys, that offensive line has to get it together.
Yeah.
Because I watch Ryan Grant run the ball. I know he can run. I know he's fast. But the holes just aren't opening up for him.
Yeah.
So if our offensive line can get it together, get healthy, start opening up those holes, but Eddie Lacy,
See,
off to the races.
that's another thing that I look at is that you've had great running backs that just weren't successful because of the
Yes,
holes that weren't there.
that's true.
So if things don't work out, he could easily fall into that same hole that running backs in the past have in Green Bay. So
hoping they turn it around this season. Hoping we do.
I have to agree with you guys. Like, the Green Bay Packers, their passing offense is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as that line is healthy, you know what we're going to be saying? When Eddie Lacy gets the ball, we're going to say, Mama, there goes that man. Because he might be the second coming of, dare I say, Adrian Peterson.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing.
Thing. He tote that rock. And he will run you over. He'll run around you, run past you, run circles around you. He's big. That's a big guy.
Yeah, he's tall, and the thing that I like about him is like most of the time you're either a tall, fast runner or you're a short power runner.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right in the middle where he is stocky enough to break tackles and run through you, and he's like lean enough so if a defensive back was chasing him, he could easily dust him.
Mm-hmm.
Easily, he's off to the races.
He kind of reminds me of a young Eddie George in his prime.
Yes,
You guys remember
Eddie
that?
George.
Eddie George, that's my man.
Has that jersey.
He got it 27. I still remember he ran my man Ray Lewis, so it's okay. I'll forgive Ray Lewis. But man, and just like that, the season is done.
The season is over.
Wow.
Well, actually, it's not over. Let's keep talking about the Packers.
Oh, here we go.
So, where do you see the Packers going this year?
I mean, I've got my bias, obviously, but we're gonna win straight out in our division.
Yeah.
There's not a team that can. Maybe Detroit, because they got Reggie Bush, they got a running game now. They got Megatron, and Minnesota. Adrian Peterson is always a threat. He is always a threat. But I think the Packers just. Right now, we're going to be too much for any of those teams. I think we're just too much for them.
I think the Packers are going to be strong, but I don't think they're Super Bowl bound quite yet. I think you still got to get past the 49ers, and I think that the 49ers are going to be really strong after picking up Anquan Bolden. I think that I see them in the NFC Championship, Packers 49ers, but I don't think that they got it this year. I think you need another year. Eddie Lacy needs another year in the NFL. I think that I think in the NFC 49ers are back in it.
I feel like that would be the read option. That was our downfall. It was the first time in the NFL. No one's ever seen it before. So Colin Kaepernick, he ran all over his butt. Yeah. This year, we're going to figure it out. We're going to the ship.
Okay. Now we're right. That was a season. And what a great season it was.
What a great season.
We had a lot of great memories, and we got to do it again. Definitely. But it's time to go home for the summer. I was honored to be the host. Tune in next year to get the latest and greatest in sports news. I'm your host, Shafiq Hinton. And remember, guys, good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is your better, and your better is your best.